Chuck Vent. I went the last couple years without seeing any movies. I think a lot of us have, because when you want to watch a movie now, instead of going to the mall and checking out one at the theater, many of us just pull up Netflix and watch something at home, right? And if you don't watch it through Netflix, we've got Amazon Prime, we've got a bunch of different options out there. So check this out. The Hollywood Reporter states that the US box office revenues, now these are revenues specifically for movies at the box office, right? October of this month, it is estimated that they're only going to pull in about $425 million, which is the least that they've had in 27 years. As a matter of fact, in case you're interested, 27 years ago, October of '97, they pulled in $385 million. They're only anticipating to pull in 40 million more now than they did 30 years ago. I went and saw Roofman, and we also saw Truth and Treason, and I thought both those movies were good, but here is the only reason I wanted to watch them is because, at least with me, I'm sick of Marvel movies. I think there's a couple of reasons for this decline though. Number one, I think a lot of people have really good TV sets nowadays. The last 2 or 3 people's houses that I've been to where they have these newer TVs, the picture looks amazing. Number two, it's always fun to watch stuff at home, but God, I have always had a love affair with the movies. I think it's because when I was younger, I can remember going with my buddies when we were 12, 13, 14, and Mom would drop us off at the theater, so I almost equated it to freedom. Were any of you guys like that? And then you go into the theater, right, and you see this giant screen, and all of a sudden it's almost like you've been immersed into an adventure. And then if you go see a horror movie or a comedy, and everybody shrieks and moans and groans and laughs together, that is really what it's all about. And I think a lot of us have been missing that, but there's good reasons. Number one, it's hella expensive. Number two, let's be honest. When you go watch a movie that sucks, and then you realize that you're out 80 or 90 bucks because, you know, you took somebody and you got some candy, that's really a bummer. I remember one time, me and my wife, when I was married, we took the kids and we went and saw this movie. I don't remember off the top of my head which movie it was, but it was so god awful. We actually asked the manager if we could get our money back, and they gave us rain checks for a different movie in the future. Have you ever gone to a movie that bad? Well, even back then, going to a movie with the family cost me 40 or 50 bucks. Nowadays, that same size family, me, wife, 2 kids, that would probably cost 100 bucks, maybe even more. I bought a bottle of water at the movies because you guys know I'm avoiding sugar. The bottle of water was $5, and if I wanted the other brand, it was 8 bucks. Could you imagine charging somebody 8 bucks for a bottle of water? Although the movies are expensive, I think there are a couple of things that they could do to remedy it. One of my first jobs that I had, as a matter of fact, what am I saying? It was my first job. It was at a place called Super Saver Cinemas, where you could literally go and watch a movie for $1. Now, where they got you was the concessions. The problem is now there's no relief anywhere. You buy a bottle of water, $5 to $8. The concessions, they still cost an arm and a leg, and the tickets cost like 10, 11 bucks. Absolutely insane. God, now that I think about it, it might be cheaper to go to a professional sporting event. You could probably go to a basketball or football game and eat there at the football game for cheaper than the movies. Holy moly. I still don't understand why they haven't done the Goonies again. Right? They have all these remakes of all these movies. You have all these superhero movies. Why aren't you remaking the Goonies? I think the kids nowadays would absolutely love the thought behind the Goonies. It's a bunch of kids in the neighborhood that don't want their houses taken over by a country club takeover. They were going to basically tear down the houses and build golf courses or something. And so they decide to go on this adventure, and they end up looking for some sort of Captain Bligh or Captain Hook's treasure. Really good story. Absolutely great story. Same with the Never-Ending Story. Why don't they remake movies like that? Those two were absolutely awesome. Instead, we get Saw 36, Superman Part 80. This time Superman is bisexual. I mean, we get these weird ass movies now. Half of them are kind of goofy and political, right? Why don't they actually make some movies that they already know people are gonna love? We love the Goonies, and I bet kids nowadays would love them too. If you're a Goonies fan, tell me who your favorite character was down below. I think I'm gonna go with characters. I think the Sloth loves Chunk dynamic was awesome, right? You see Sloth, and if you think about it, at one point in the movie, he's the scariest part of the movie, and he ends up becoming heroic despite being part of the Fratelli family. Sometimes we forget Sloth was a Fratelli too. What's the story behind Sloth? Well, I don't really know the actual story, but my thinking is he's there to show you that no matter where you grow up, no matter how messed up your family is, you can still make a choice to do the right thing. So what's the right thing that you should be doing? Well, if you absolutely love your family, you should be putting on your shoes and taking a daily walk with us, because the walk must go on. There will be a day that each and every one of us has to stop walking. If you ask anybody in a wheelchair what they would like to do, it's not go to anywhere in the world or country. It's not going to a sporting event like the Super Bowl. They would like to walk again. So every time you ignore me telling you to walk, an angel loses his wing and flies to the ground, and you don't want to know the rest. Start walking with us. Ramon Perez says $30 for an IMAX movie at the Regal Cinema in a matinee hour is insane. We used to time it out to go see the movie for the matinee, because supposedly, according to my mother at the time, that made the movie a lot more doable price-wise. Now, I think this guy's right. Even if you go during the matinee, it's still an arm and a leg. They ought to give you half-price drinks. They ought to treat it like happy hour, where you get half-price concessions at certain times for certain movies, and then you could actually attract people. God forbid, I don't think I've ever seen movies actually go out of their way to try to attract us. They've just been sucking us dry financially forever. I think some of these... I'm a little embarrassed, but I actually watched the occasional Lifetime movie. I know there's no cursing in it. I know that half of them are goofy and very unrealistic, but sometimes it's better to watch a Lifetime movie than to go to the theater and watch something that does suck. I feel like the movies nowadays, I'm not surprised to hear that numbers are down. And I don't think numbers are down because people are broke, because I think when you're really broke, you'll choose things like going to the movies rather than going out and having drinks with friends, you know? But why would you go to a movie when you can just watch something at home? One of the things I notice with movies at home is there's a lot of wannabe movies. You know how people are constantly like, oh, I was watching this on Netflix. Oh, I was watching this on Hulu, or this, that, and the other. You go on Netflix and you'll realize that it's like a bunch of B movies. Most of the movies on Netflix are absolute garbage. Why is that? I remember there used to be this thing, and I think there still is this thing, it's called the Red Box. It was like in front of grocery stores. And people would always be like, oh, we're gonna go get something from the Red Box, yay! And I would go up to the Red Box, and once again, It was like god-awful B movies. When we were growing up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the movie was an event. I love so many movies. As a matter of fact, recently I rewatched Sneakers with Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier. All-star cast, really, really good movie. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a good movie. I also rewatched Kingpin. Still makes me laugh like crazy. It's a great flick, and if you can watch it with other people where everybody laughs together, that's what movies are about. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen a couple of the newer movies, and when you're in the theater, people do genuinely laugh, and it's still fun. I just like stories that don't involve invoking superpowers all the time. There was this movie with Dustin Hoffman. I want you guys to write this down. It's called, well, I believe it's called Hero, if my memory serves me. And this movie was one where there ends up being like a fire, and this guy ends up being the hero. And it's just a great movie. Nowadays, if that movie came out, nobody would even like it. Now, I know you're thinking, Jesse, you didn't give us very many details. Well, here's the problem. I just remember the movie was damn good. I don't really remember too much about the details of it, but that's another good reason to rewatch some of those old movies. When I was rewatching Kingpin and Sneakers, I couldn't help but think, why have I waited so long to watch this? I love these movies. I can watch A Few Good Men once or twice a year, and I've probably seen it 15 or 20 times. The thing that gets me about A Few Good Men is that opening scene where you're looking at Private Santiago's closet and you see all these perfectly pressed military, uniforms and outfits, right? And you're thinking to yourself, well, it's just an opening scene, no big deal. No, that scene is the movie. If Private Santiago was due at 5 a.m. and he was never going to return to the base ever again, why didn't he have anything packed? And why didn't he make any phone calls? You can't handle the truth. Put your shoes on, let's go for a walk. Thomas Darling says $70 between 2 snacks and tickets for 2 people is just not worth it.
Friends, you've arrived at the right place. This is Jesse, and he'll be our guide for today. Welcome to Walk Talk Vent.
I've never been to a play, and I'm going to a play in a couple weeks. We're going to go watch The Christmas Story, and it's really, really expensive, but I think it's worth it. Number one, it's an experience I've never gone through. Number two, I've actually seen people going to the theater in movies, so I wanted to check it out. CJ McDonald says, a few ideas. Hollywood needs to develop better stories. I totally agree. Movie theaters need to lower their ticket prices. Yeah, I agree. Especially during non-peak and more affordable concessions. So yes, at least lower the prices during matinee times. And why not bust out a happy hour like they do at places where they sell alcohol? Have a happy hour or two where drinks and concessions are half price. We have a movie theater chain out here. If you're in Arizona, you're probably very familiar with Dan Harkin's Theaters. And the Harkin's Theaters, every year they sell a souvenir cup and a t-shirt. And with the souvenir cup, you can get $1 refills of soda. That's awesome. And it's only like $3 or $4 or $5. And then, I don't know if they still do the t-shirt, but they used to have a Harkin's t-shirt. And if you wore it, you got like free refills on your popcorn or something. I forget how that worked, but I think you got like discount popcorn. Those are things that if you do it, it can become a family tradition. Every year we would buy the shirt and the cup, and to this day, people buy those darn cups. I asked them the other day, can I get one of the cups? They said it was too late in the year. They're coming out with a new one in a couple of weeks. At John's Bad says, I cannot tell you a single movie I know of in theaters right now. John, the reason you don't isn't because there's no good movies, because I just told you 2 of them that are actually pretty good. The Roof Man and Truth and Treason. The reason you're not hearing about movies is because we don't watch TV as much anymore. We watch a lot of YouTube videos and TikTok videos, and they just don't really show us ads for movies very often. As a matter of fact, I have YouTube Premium, which I absolutely love. You don't realize how annoying commercials are until you have YouTube Premium. But I have YouTube Premium, so I don't really see the commercials at all. So the chance of me seeing a commercial that tells me about an upcoming movie are very small. And then as far as word of mouth advertising, in the past, if there was an awesome movie, one of your buddies would tell you about it. Well, nowadays we don't even talk to our friends very often, and nobody's going to that movie. I think it's sad. I absolutely love the movies. I had so many fun times at the movies with my friends. At Keeping on the Watch says, most film releases look unappealing and uninteresting. Now that's true. Even the trailer for Roof Man and Truth and Treason didn't necessarily knock you off your feet. It was one of those where I was willing to give it a try, and it looked like it might be okay. And then I was pleasantly surprised, because when you go in thinking something's going to be okay and it ends up being pretty good, you feel like you got your money's worth. You know, there's one thing I can promise you that you can get your money's worth on right now. If you take my advice and start walking each and every day just for half an hour, you can do it before work, you can do it after work, you can do it whenever you'd like, you will get your money's worth. You will feel like you're in the best shape of your life, because you will be in the best shape of your life. And for those of us that have been walking every day, if you really were to ask a lot of us, we have no intention of quitting. It's super duper fun. It's super duper relaxing. A lot of people tell you, get away from the screen. What better way to get away from the telephone screen than to take a walk? And if you want to listen to me while you're on your walk, that doesn't necessarily involve staring at a screen. But I challenge you. Here's the key to having success with your walk. Not just to walk every day, but to improve all the time. So if you're walking for a half hour today, up the intensity, walk a little bit faster for a little bit longer, and then continuously make little strides like that. It'll be worth it. Additionally, ditch the soda, start drinking water. Even if you only ditch the occasional soda for water, heck, I look at that as a victory, as a win. Anyway, that's another walk. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you hit the like button. Subscribe, hype this video, leave a comment, tell us how your walking challenge is going, and when was the last time you saw a movie? What movie was it? And would you recommend it to a friend? I'll see you tomorrow.